Hey guys, so I didn't really know anything about this movement, but this comment was made on my Over video, and so this person suggested I check out the Venus Project and the Zeitgeist movement. And so I did. I checked it out, and I definitely think it is, like Orwell has a good philosophy. Well, though, unlike Orwell, it doesn't really have any actual place. It's more just like an ideological movement, kind of what I have as well. Of course, I don't really have any followers, but I have an idea. But unlike Orwell can initiate the idea because the whole thing is on that piece of land. But with this is a movement, and of course, they're all both of them are quite similar. And actually, a lot of people have said they're kind of along the same values and beliefs. Like they're quite similar, not that different from each other. They only have a few differences. And I kind of agree with that statement. But a lot of what I found with it is it's kind of like the Communist Manifesto, where it has a lot of ideas, but it doesn't have like an actual movement plan, is what I kind of found with it. Like a lot of critiques about the Communist Manifesto is that he had these ideas, but he didn't really have, and like he had this, well, the world should be like this, but and like him and like this, there's not really a plan to get there, and there's not really I find, what's the word, like it's not fully realized, like it's not conceptualized. Like I don't like hear about the market. Like they talk about the economy, which again, like of course, is kind of the opposite of my movement. But like, I think that's a lot of the problem too with capitalism. Is people are trying to adapt something that originally, and it's hard to. I don't think it will ever change. It's made to exploit people, and to divide people, and to make a few percent wealthy and the rest poor. So it's kind of all this trying to change it. It doesn't change what its core belief is. And I think this is kind of what this is doing. Like, I don't really see any value changes on how to get this done. Like, what I propose, if you check out my videos, is I propose a new ideology, a new way of looking at things. I even have a video on education. Because I think a lot of problem is people think, oh, well, I have these ideas, but then you need to make sure that people believe in them. And the problem is that not many people have any series on what the education system could be, because that's the most important part. Because, like, many of these people who even comment on my videos, they're educated in our systems and they believe what they tell us. They don't try and view for themselves, re-educate themselves. And so they believe these falsities as truths. And I think what this doesn't do is this doesn't try and exploit that, and more tries and adapts it. Like it doesn't try and go capitalism, like it's horrid. Like they do talk about how it's horrid, but they don't talk about how it really needs to change or how they're really like differentiating away from it. It's more like they're adapting it, which I don't think works. And they don't talk about a value and belief system that would be educated to children. Because what I kind of explained is that children would learn about the past, how bad it is, and then we teach them what it is to say and how better that is, so that people value it. And you can see in many different education systems around the world, especially versus collectivistic and individualistic cultures, it's a lot different. And it's also what I think with this, it's more individualistic, I find. They're promoting the same individualistic type of culture, which I think is pretty detrimental. And again, like the communist theory, it thinks of people as good, and it's kind of like, and they have a better view of humanity, and like their state of nature is a more positive one. And so I think that's kind of what the problem is. There's not really any, like I propose a set of rules or systems in place to make sure that people do the right thing. But in this, it kind of seemed like capitalism sent a free-for-all and not really much structure and regulations in any way to enforce these values. And I think that's a lot. I think if this was ever to play out, there would be so many problems because of the lack of governance. Like how we see today, there's a lot of issues because there's not governance on things and the values aren't really incorporated and we have the wrong values. So I'm glad to find this out because I didn't really know about this stuff. And I think, like, I just found the series weren't that comprehensive and I don't really think it will work out. But I'm glad to know it because I think one of the great things is learning about these things and trying to add things. Because again, I kind of didn't really focus on the environment that much, but these things are really focused on the environment and technology, and they have a lot more, I guess, scientific, like they do have some ways about, they have similar ideas of mine, like sort of structurally and all that stuff, and I think that's kind of great. I do think they're a little bit more conservative than I am in that sense, like they're not as radical, but I do think it's a great read to read up on them and look at their website. But I would say it's, I, not to sound too bad or like too narcissistic, but I do think mine's a bit more comprehensive and better. But I do think these are good movements and I do see the appeal in them. Oh yeah, thanks guys, and happy Halloween.